safe. We think importantly, you need to note that even if this weren't true, on principle we're going to tell you why police themselves should not have lethal weapons. So firstly, I think it's important to consider what these sort of incidents are like in many communities in the US at the moment. We tell you that the reason why the police automatically default use lethal weapons is for two reasons. Firstly, we tell you it's because of the sort of fear that happens when they have an interaction with people in these communities. We know what often tends to happen is that if a policeman feels in danger, despite the fact that he has a wide range of options to choose from, including non-lethal measures, we think that if he feels that he's in danger, it is much more likely that they will automatically use the lethal weapon, that this is the most direct thing to use to prevent and remove that sort of threat. I think that's something important to know, and it's a very clear reason why police generally always use the most lethal weapon that they have in their arsenal. But secondly, we tell you that systemic racism exists, particularly in places like the US. We think importantly, there are police officers that are racist at the moment who will automatically, when they're faced with an interaction, will automatically shoot a black person. We think they won't spend much time thinking about it. But we also recognize that there are police people who actually are not racist, who maybe instead actually have sort of biases which instead make them likely suspicious of black people. We think that's sort of like an interaction which also exists. We think in that case where they aren't racist but are still suspicious, we tell you that they are much more likely to take out the most lethal weapon they have in their arsenal, and therefore that is going to end in a lot more violence and a lot more deaths and people being hurt. So why is it principally illegitimate for these people to use such lethal weapons? We tell you that it's a failure of the state to protect these people. How? We think that what happens is that, the state enables the use of excessive and consistent force when it has a range of options. As we've already proved to you, despite the fact that they're given tasers and batons, we think they automatically use the most direct thing in their arsenal, which tend to be guns. What that therefore means is that the state is allowing these police officers to automatically shoot people. We take that as completely problematic. I think that in order for them to start using the non-lethal measures, we need to initially take away the most lethal measures. But the second reason, and I'll take you after this, why it's principally illegitimate, is we tell you that the state grants the police the power to arrest people and try them for crime. And we think that that's the power they give to the police, instead of actually allowing the police to kill people. We think that there are a few exceptions to this rule, in that they say if the police, for example, are being attacked directly and their lives are threatened or lives around them, we think that they should be allowed these sorts of weapons. But I think largely in general what happens is the state should allow them to go and arrest people and try them. We tell you that is not what is happening at the moment. We say instead these people are actually shooting them. When we look at the numbers of people dying in the United States, thousands upon thousands every year, black people from police violence, police brutality, we tell you there is a problem and we fix that on our side, yes.
How do you expect police officers to defend themselves when their opponents have armed rifles and not be able to shoot them if all they have are tasers and batons?
Okay, so firstly we tell you that the majority of instances in the US where black people are dying, those black people are unarmed, they don't have any weapons on them. We look at Tamir Rice and we tell you that he had a toy gun and some Skittles in his pocket which we pull out. We tell you that Eric Garner was completely unarmed when he was recalled. We tell you that last week Alton Sterling was running away from the police with nothing when they shot him in the back. We tell you that these people were not a threat to the police, and the narrative that Team Opposition is going to tell you that these black people are a threat is actually factually untrue. We tell you to look at the numbers and tell us why these people are a threat. We tell you that comparatively on our side, when we remove these lethal weapons, we know what happens is whilst we admit that initially there may be an increase in police officers who are facing this violence, we tell you that in the long term, our side is able to create much more safer communities where there are vastly less numbers of death and less numbers of police brutality. We tell you that that's a calculus on our side we're happy to make, and we think will ultimately lead to a good thing in the long term. Second argument today, about how we improve race relations on our side of the house. We tell you at the moment the current situation is that every week people in the world hear of new police brutalities. We hear of people dying all over the United States. Which when you look at Fernando Castile dying in his car where his family was surrounding him simply for pulling an ID out of his pocket, we think there is a direct problem that needs to be fixed. We think that the state has to do it. We think that what happens is when these sort of interactions between the police using their lethal weapons happens, it not only directly it's an isolated experience. We tell you that people take to the streets in these communities. We tell you that the police in response roll out tanks into Ferguson, and we think that what this does is literally ignites a war between white and black people on the streets. We tell you that we change this on our side of the house. How? Firstly, we tell you on a very basic level, on our side, when we remove these lethal weapons, we simply get less deaths. We get less policemen actually shooting people, A, on the streets and in neighborhoods, but B, at protests. We tell you that's something that we strongly suppose. We think there's 3 reasons why this so very importantly matters. First, we tell you is that it allows a discourse with the state. Right now, we think that groups like Black Lives Matter cannot actually have a communication with the state and talk about ways to fix this problem, simply because of the fact every week they take out to protest because as soon as they try and discuss, a new person dies. We say that's something we fix at our house. We're actually making sure that this peace exists, making sure that that conversation can happen without new people being shot. Secondly, we tell you in the long term, we achieve better race relations at our house. Why does this happen? We tell you that no longer do children on the streets of Ferguson see police patrolling their neighborhood with large rifles. We tell you that we remove that sort of image automatically from the children on the streets, so they don't grow up in an environment where their parents tell them to not talk to the police, to do everything the police say. We think instead we change that narrative and we make people in the long run see the police as a much more friendly force and see the police for who they actually should be, protecting the civilians in the country. Because we achieve that at our side of the house and we make the police achieve the job that they are given to do, we beg you to oppose.